into the last topic, which is our final Drag Race topic, where I should have known this was going to happen eventually because, we are oversaturated with Drag Race girls. And it was only a matter of time before there's more Drag Race queens out here who are trying to keep up work. Whereas, and there's not going to be enough venues to house said queens. So now Selena Estidis recently spoke out to Ricky Cornish in an interview, and she talked about basically, that the girls are having a hard time finding work. So it's in between the economy, political discourse, and oversaturation of incredible RuPaul's Drag Race dolls around the globe. It's becoming very difficult for these girls to book gigs. Excuse me. Now, the LA-based icon Selena Estidis first appeared on our screens during season 15 of RuPaul's Drag Race, placing 6th just last year. Was it last year? Oh, yeah, it was. Because, wait, no. Oh, yeah, it did come in last year. Because I remember this year was when Drag Race season 16 started. So, yeah, they're right. I had to think about that. Season 17 starts in January 2025. Now, despite only being out of the workroom walls for a relatively short period of time, Miss Estidis has warned that an oversaturation of queens, who she says are being churned out by World of Wonder at an alarming rate, has caused some of the gigs to dry up for anyone not on a currently airing season. So I don't know if any girls are willing to admit it, but the Ru girls are struggling out in these streets. There's an oversurge of queens and not enough gigs at the moment. It's really hard for the girls to stay above water. This is what she told Pride. She continued, the struggle may not be shown on Instagram. We can't let the kids know that, but that's the truth and the reality. There's no answer. I just think it's the economy and gay bars are struggling as a whole. There's definitely something happening. Now, Mrs. Stiddies also added that despite the lack of gigs, visibility is still just as important for queer people now more than ever, saying, I just urge that we keep on going out there regardless. They want us to shut down and not exist. That's not the case. This is what she told the publication. Now, drag queens have never been the ones to be kept in the closet, honey. We have to come out. Now, Selena may have a point, because I should say this, 210 contestants have appeared on the original flagship series, RuPaul's Drag Race, over 16 seasons. So as it enters its 17th season in 2025, the total number of queens who have sashayed into the workroom, and have already sashayed in my mind, because I told you I already saw season 17. And if you want to get the full iteration of what went down in that, because I went to the premiere last week, you could definitely watch that in a separate video that I have on my YouTube channel. And basically was just like, you know what, the total number of queens is going to be 224. And I do agree. It's like there's not a lot of bars that's happening. I think that a lot of the girls, once they hit Drag Race, they do become increasingly expensive. This is why you got to be able to book the things while you can, and you got to be able to have a plan B, meaning you got to like for example, Alaska. Alaska was on season 5 of Drag Race, and she did All Stars. Her career is thriving. That's because she has other things going on. She has Drag the Musical that is currently, on Broadway. That I told you I saw. I told you about it earlier. That I saw it on Friday. And she's got Jujubee in it. Jan Sport is in it. Luxmore London. Who else? I said Jujubee, right? So we got a lot of the girls from Drag Race that are in the show. And that's a good thing that we're seeing girls who, yes, they're necessarily like they're from previous seasons, but there are opportunities that are being created where they're being included in other shows. So because of Alaska creating this thing, and Alaska's also in it, she's created a place where she can get fellow Drag Race girls who can sing that comes in and does this show, which is great. And I think next month, Jimbo is going to be taking over for Alaska in her part. So it'll be interesting to see how Jimbo does in the part when she comes in next month. But I totally get it. It's like, and this is basically what they do. So it's like, yeah, you got a whole year between seasons before you get to make your mark. Otherwise, they move on to the next big shiny thing. And where they get propped up I also want to shout out Lucky Stars for being the only one from Drag Race that I can think of off the cuff to follow me on Instagram because I posted her picture and she reposted it in her stories and I shouted her out and she actually followed me. I could have sworn I followed her before, but I don't know. Sometimes Instagram be acting a fool. So she followed me and then I had to follow her back because I thought I followed her first. So Lucky Star is the only one. She's a force to be reckoned with, so definitely look out for her on the upcoming season. But I totally feel where Selena is coming from. And sidebar, I found it funny because I told her, speaking of Drag the Musical, I told you Frankie Grande was there too, right? And he was sitting in the front row. I was sitting at one of the tables on the side. And um what had happened was Selena Estides is good friends with Frankie Grande. So my friend who was there with me, who works in the industry, wound up messaging. Well, I think he texted Selena, was like, look, and took a picture of Frankie. Was like, look who's here. And then Selena was like, I didn't even know she was in New York. So there was that. But yeah, I definitely feel for what Selena is saying in this whole situation. And I just hope that, you know what, yeah, you got to be vigilant. You got to be out there in these streets. You got to be able to create what you need to create because you can't solely rely on a lot of these nightclubs and stuff that's going on. I do agree. A lot of the clubs are expensive. Like they charge too much for the drinks that a lot of, I guess, the girls with their booking fees, they be charged out the behind. But if you're somebody who is you know, a jack of all trades, somebody who has many talents, you can take something and you can continue to extend your 15 minutes. I think Safira has an event coming up where she's going to be performing somewhere or something or another. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but a friend of mine was telling me about it. Plus, with the Bianca Del Rio, she's been touring, doing her comedy specials for eons, but she's always been that girl with the stand-up comedy. It's just Drag Race afforded her the opportunity to branch beyond that. And so some of the girls have been finding things to do, but I do like the fact that she brought this up. Now the question remains, what needs to be done about this? Because yeah, it is being oversaturated. And not only that, we have to think about the amount of other spinoffs that are dealing with that. How are they dealing with that in their respective areas? Like, how are the Canada girls dealing with this? How are the France girls dealing? How are the Mexican girls dealing with it? How are the Filipino girls dealing with it? I mean, I know in Thailand, Pajana Hills owns a bunch of clubs and stuff out there, so she's good, and she can book the girls at her place. So there's some girls who were able to do things in their own right, but yeah, for the most part, when you get a couple of those who are just like random drag race girls who don't have the business savvy or the wherewithal to expand beyond the clubs and are really struggling, that I also get as well. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story regarding Selena saying that the drag race queens are struggling to find work? And that's because, there's too many queens out here and not enough venues that are booking these girls. And, we dealing with our own stuff in regards to like politicians coming down on trans women and drag performers and that sort of thing and coming after the LGBTs trying to shove us back in the damn closet. And so whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below.